Hey, it's Drew Neiser with another Tuesday tip. We just had a bonus huddle with Mike McKinnon of LogRhythm, who's the head of RevOps there. And we talked a lot about how to get more out of your marketing tech stack. So some of the CMOs who were listening are now going to give you a tip that they may have pulled out of this session or on their own. So starting first will be Cindy Zhou from LogRhythm.
Thanks so much. And for everyone listening, remember, it's always about your people and make sure that you have dedicated admins to the technology that you're deploying in the organization, because sometimes it's more than meets the eye.
And I'm so glad you start there because it's not about the tech, it's about the people often. And we talked about this in the huddle that sometimes you need 3 times the amount of individuals to support the technology. Okay, next up, Katrina Klier from PROS. What is your tip?
This has been such a great conversation. I feel like we could all say a lot of different things. I would say similar to, people are the center of it. Make sure that your marketing processes that you want your RevOps, your tech, or whatever it is to support are mapped out to a certain degree and aligned with your sales organization before you go down the technology route of what you need. So you avoid the bright, shiny tool that's going to be the silver bullet, and you actually get the tools that are going to support your business and do what you really need it to do.
Oh, but there's so much cool technology. How can we sort of avoid that bright, shiny thing? All right, so we've got people, we've got process. Patti Newcomer, what is your tip?
2 quick things. The dirty data thing, like garbage in, garbage out. I keep learning for decades and decades that it's all about the data and you've got to get the data to make sense. And then I just think it's super important to know how you're going to measure success for these new technologies. We've recently adopted a number of new things and trying to make sure that before we pull the trigger, we know how we're going to know if it's successful. And so we can go back to the CFO and the CEO and say, yep, this investment was worthwhile. We met our success criteria.
Yeah, I love the point about the dirty data. Mike talks about this in his book about, it's $1, then $10, then $100 in a progression as bad data sort of fills up the pipeline. And also the ROI thing is so important. And the good news is, if you're a part of CMO Huddles, you can ask another CMO if they've used this technology and they will tell you whether they got good value out of it and how much staff they had. All right, Mike McKinnon, who's leading this conversation, who wrote this wonderful book called The Marketing Operations Handbook, and it has been a guest of our bonus huddle. Mike, wrap it up. Take us home. What is your tip?
All right. So my one tip would be, you can probably do it without the tech. And I would say do it first without the tech. And I'm not talking about core tech like email, obviously, but I'm talking about like ABM is a big one. Predictive marketing is a big one. You don't need to buy a big grand tech to do some basic ABM to see it's worth your time in your company. And so I would say, try to do it without the tech first, see if you can adhere, hone your processes, your success metrics, do all your learning. And then when you can finally buy the tech, you're not learning as you're ramping that tech up.
God, what a great point. And I think after over 100 huddles, no one has ever actually suggested that. You can do these things without the technology. You get into the rhythm, you see if there's buy-in, because you got to get the alignment. Great tip. All right. If you're a CMO who can share, care, and dare with the best of them and want to get tips like this in real time, check out cmohuddles.com or hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm Drew Neiser. That's your Tuesday tip. Peace out.